Welcome to the June 2023 edition of Upfront and Real, brought to you by Ohio Cooperative Living Magazine and Ohio's Electric Cooperatives. I'm Karen Whitney, Director of Communications for OEC, and with me today, Pat O'Loughlin, our President and CEO. Good afternoon, Pat. In May, the EPA announced some new carbon capture rules that ban the use of fossil fuels to produce electricity. And this impacts both our coal and our natural gas plants, which is the bulk of how we produce electricity for our Ohio cooperative members. Can you explain to us, what are they asking our coal and gas plants to do, and what kind of impact would that have on our commitment to provide them reliable, affordable electricity?
Well, that's a great question, Karen. It's really a tough issue. Here at the same time, we are using more electricity to do almost everything. We have cleaned up our electricity supply and continue to get cleaner and better all the time. Now the EPA has come out with a set of rules that effectively will require us to stop using fossil fuels or implement new technologies that don't even really practically exist in the real world today in a very short time frame. And what's going to result is going to be the closure of several fossil-fired power plants because they're going to be unwilling to comply with these rules. And we're going to see higher prices of electricity at a time when our grid is already strained to meet its requirements that we have, and we're seeing cost increases already.
So this carbon capture and storage that they're talking about, it is a new technology to reduce carbon emissions. Where is it being done in the United States, in the world?
Yeah, so there's been a handful of attempts to do what they're asking us to do. Most of those have already been abandoned. There's one that I'm aware of that's operating, but not exactly doing what they've asked. So the real answer is there isn't any of these out there doing exactly what it is they're proposing we'd be able to do in just a few short years at our coal plants and a few more years for gas plants. It's a very unrealistic and dangerous rule.
Okay, so it's not even a proven technology then, it sounds like. So this really then leaves the power generators like us with two options. Then it sounds like that you've got install unproven technology at a high rate or close altogether. That could mean no reliable power. It could mean rolling blackouts in our future. What are your thoughts about that? Am I understanding that's what we're looking at?
So again, this is a proposed rule. It's a proposal the EPA's made. We think it's a really bad idea because it does just what you said. It tells us that we either have to install unproven technologies that we know has very high costs. Oh, by the way, uses a lot of electricity. It would consume 20 or 30% of the output of each plant you put it on. Okay. And we don't really know that it'll work or how long it'll work if we even go down that road. So many companies, many utilities are going to just choose to not even try. So we're going to take an already strained electric grid and we're going to further weaken it as people are going to decide to just close power plants that were somehow marginal. Now, we don't know how we're going to respond at this point. It's still a proposal. But what we do know is we're going to provide comments that tell the EPA, number one, that it's a bad idea. Number two, that it's dangerous to the reliability of our electric system to continue down this road. And number three, that there are better ways to go about this. In fact, we've proven that. Since 2005, the electric power industry has reduced our emissions of CO2 by 36% while producing 5% more electricity. We do that without any regulations, but just by advancing technology and using proven, cost-effective ways to make electricity better. And we're going to continue to do that. And these kind of rules which force technologies that are unproven and costs that are higher on utilities and ultimately on consumers are just a bad idea. And we're going to tell them that.
I don't know if it's coincidence or not, the USDA a week later announced $9.7 billion in funding to cooperative power generators just like us here at Buckeye Power to install clean energy systems, projects like carbon capture. How are they connected? How is this connected to the EPA rules?
Yeah, well, I don't really know. It doesn't seem like an accident that those things both came out at the same time. We are hopeful to use some of the USDA, RUS, Rural Utility Service money to help us further our clean energy projects in many ways. It's certainly not going to fully replace all of our fossil generation, but we do think that it's a great program and it's one that can help us advance our clean energy goals more affordably for our members.
Yeah, so a lot of important news coming out in our industry. What can the people watching this podcast, this video podcast, what can they do to get involved stop these EPA rules from taking effect?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, we are going to oppose these rules through the rulemaking process. That's not something most people can get involved in. But we do need to pick leaders, elect leaders that are going to propose sensible solutions and that are going to stay away from dangerous and harmful proposals. That's what we see this as, and we need leaders that are going to work on more common sense solutions to the problems that we all face. And those include reliable electricity, they include affordable electricity, and they do include a cleaner environment. And we've proven we can do all three. It's just very difficult when you're forced into bad ideas.
Okay, thank you, Pat. And thank you to everyone listening and watching, and help educate your friends, your family out there about what's going on in our energy industry.
And I would just say to all of our electric cooperative members out there, please support your electric cooperative as we try to fight for common sense solutions to problems that we all face.